Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight, doctors express concern over a COVID variant spreading around the world. Meanwhile, the opposition leader is wary of a third wave and a joint effort to improve healthcare in the Bahamas. We've got the story. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs, topping news tonight with 3 new variants of the SARS-CoV-2 virus being detected in 14 countries in the Americas. The CPSA president is concerned that these variants are nearing the Bahamas. George O'Bain reports.
President of the Consultant Physician Staff Association, Dr. Sabrika Pinder-Butler, is expressing concern that new COVID variants that are proving to be more infectious are creeping closer to home.
We know that from what we've been reading and what we've been watching, I think all of us have been seeing that a lot of these variants have been found to be more infectious. That means that more persons in your country can become easily infected with COVID-19. And I think as well, that's why we are seeing in other countries, even the UK, where there are lockdowns again and other measures that they had released in the past, they're actually reinstating those because they understand how quickly those viruses can spread.
Despite a drop in COVID-19 cases in recent months, Butler says it is not the time for Bahamians to let their guard down.
Should a third wave occur, we want to be prepared. We want to limit the amount of persons in the country that are impacted. We cannot be foolish because we have been watching what has happened in other countries in the world. And so what we've been seeing so far, most of them have been impacted, and that's why they're trying to put in these safety measures to help their people, and that's really the bottom line. So we're concerned because certainly we don't wish for it to happen here. We're still a very small country.
Travelers are now required to present a negative COVID-19 test before entering the United States, which will also require those persons to quarantine. While the government is seeking a waiver for the Bahamas against new travel restrictions implemented by the CDC for those traveling into the United States, Butler says the new restrictions are similar to suggestions previously made by the CPSA.
The CPSA and the Medical Association of the Bahamas, when we had initially talked about changes with travel policy and the like, we had mentioned quarantine as one of the things as well, especially because we thought that it might have been challenging for us certainly to monitor the persons who were coming in country, because we know that we have challenges with human resources, and certainly being able to enforce persons actually having the test. We know that that did not happen.
The CPSA president says while she understands the impact these new travel restrictions will have on the tourism industry, she believes they are necessary.
The safety, the health and safety of your population is certainly something that should be first and foremost, and I think perhaps that is what the United States is seeking to do.
Reporting for our news, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
Thanks, Giorgio. Well, Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Brave Davis says he's not convinced the Bahamas is ready to handle a possible third wave of the COVID-19 virus. Jasmine Brown tells us more.
PLP leader Philip Brave Davis says his concerns are not only based on the Minnis administration's current handling of the pandemic, but also the new infectious COVID-19 strains that are already spreading in some parts of the world.
There are 3 new strains that have been detected. One in the UK, which is known as the B117. One in Brazil, which is the 501Y. In South Africa. In South Africa is the 501Y, and in Brazil the P1. Those 3 strains are all concerning the world pandemic.
Davis insists the government needs to release a plan that allows for more virus testing and isolation to help prevent a third wave of COVID-19 in the country. More than 50 countries, including the U.S., have already detected a COVID-19 mutation, which was first spotted in the UK. Another strain out of South Africa is also said to have spread to some 23 countries. Meanwhile, in Brazil, a new coronavirus variant has been detected. The new strains come amid emerging reports that some of the new variants, particularly the one identified in the United Kingdom, may be both more infectious and more deadly than the original one.
My concern is that are we ready for a possible third phase, and what protocols and plans are being in place?
Davis pointed to the recommendations made by the PLP COVID-19 task force as strategies the government could implement to better protect the country against the new threats. He insisted that the Minutes administration needs to prepare now, or Bahamians and residents will suffer later.
We made, my COVID task force made certain recommendations about three weeks ago as to what we think should be happening. I do not see or know whether the government has taken up any of them, and I just urge them to consider, because the third wave could necessarily include these 3 new variants of the virus, and we need to prepare ourselves.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Police are investigating the discovery of 2 firearms in 2 separate incidents on Friday. In the first incident, officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit went to a home on Laird Street and observed a man acting suspiciously. Upon searching the man, the officers found a 9mm pistol with 5 unfired rounds of ammunition. The officers then proceeded to search the man's home, where officers discovered a quantity of suspected marijuana. The man was arrested and taken into custody. In the second incident, officers from the Operations Unit, acting on information, went to an abandoned building on Windsor Lane. Upon searching the building, a black 9mm pistol with 3 rounds of ammunition was discovered. No arrests were made in this incident. Still to come on Our News, vacation rentals need to pay their fair share, says a hotel exec. And we've got tips on how to spot fake money, so stay with us.
Basketball is back, baby, and so is NBA League Pass, only with Rev Trio. Sign up for Rev Trio today and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free, along with incredible prizes including a brand new 50-inch smart TV, NBA gear, and more. With tons of prizes and gear, signing up for Trio is the best on and off-court move this year. Just call 601-8992 or visit www.rev.bs/promotions/trio. Sign up for Rev Trio today and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free.
The vacation home rental sector is not currently paying its fair share as a tourism industry player. That was the view expressed by President of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association, Robert Sands, who says he's trying to help the government to recognize more taxes from that sector.
We want them to pay their fair share. It cannot be a free ride.
Sands, who made the remarks on the Guardian radio show The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, said vacation home rentals currently only pay value-added tax on a small portion of the services they offer. He said the disparity between what hotels currently pay in taxes and what the vacation home rental sector pays is inequitable.
I think Airbnbs are very good, but they have to pay their fair share of some of the taxes. If it's only VAT to the government of the Bahamas, it can't be a free ride, so that the country can also develop and the government has excess capital to spend on infrastructure, education, social services, health, etc. The traditional businesses cannot carry that alone.
Officials from the Royal Bahamas Police Force and the Central Bank of the Bahamas are sounding the alarm on counterfeit currency. In a webinar on Friday, officials sought to explain what to look for to spot a fake. Berthany McDermott has that.
Unofficially, more than $22,000 in counterfeit currency was seized by law enforcement officers in 2020, according to data from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. While noting that only the police commissioner can produce official crime numbers, Sergeant Travis Strawn said police saw a peak in July 2020, where they confiscated nearly $10,500 in counterfeit notes.
We all know that we went through a lockdown period, so we can assume that during the fluctuation period, if you notice, it seems as there's a correlation between the lockdown when the public was open up, I guess for retail or traveling, you see a spike.
The law stipulates that a person found in possession of fraudulent notes is liable to imprisonment of up to 10 years. While speaking at a counterfeit currency detection webinar, Strawn said the places most susceptible to receiving counterfeit bills are bars, nightclubs, supermarkets, commercial banks, and churches. On the bright side, Central Bank Principal Circulation Officer Sequino Porter said officials have seen a steady decline in the last 10 years. He said for every 1 million authentic banknotes issued, an average of 2 or 3 counterfeit banknotes were received.
As at December last year, December 2020, after we implemented a few strategies to continue to reduce this number, we now have a ppm of 1.590, which means we're now receiving maybe 1 to 2 counterfeit banknotes for every 1 million banknotes we issue. Security thread is on the back of the note and is weaved in and out of the banknote. So the security thread is color shifting on this particular note. The color shifts from gold to green, and it has the letters 1 and the denomination 1 written inside the thread. So additionally, there is movement in the thread that depicts a bright shining bar, which moves up and down along the thread when the note is tilted. So finally, when you hold the banknote up to the light, the thread forms a solid line.
He added that the most common counterfeit bill is the $20 bill. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
A Grand Bahama clinic gets a much-needed upgrade. We'll tell you all about it when Our News comes back from the break.
Basketball is back, baby, and so is NBA League Pass, only with Rev Trio. Sign up for Rev Trio today and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free, along with incredible prizes including a brand new 50-inch smart TV, NBA gear, and more. With tons of prizes and gear, signing up for Trio is the best on and off-court move this year. Just call 601-8992 or visit www.rev.bs/promotions/trio. Sign up for Rev Trio today and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free.
SBP, a nonprofit recovery and disaster response organization, has partnered with other foundations and the Public Hospital Authority to create clean water initiatives at several clinics and hospitals across the Bahamas. SBP Executive Director Andy Stoffleth says the goal is to better equip communities to have clean and sanitary water following natural disasters. This week, the organization installed a reverse osmosis unit at the 8 Mile Rock Clinic in Grand Bahama.
So here in 8 Mile Rock, we sized up an RO unit that's going to be able to produce about 30 gallons per minute to feed the clinic, which is going to be more than what the clinic needs, so that in the case of future disasters, the clinic then can support the community by producing excess water that can be accessible to folks that would come here to get their water.
Stoffleth added that they have worked with PMH to identify 5 locations in Grand Bahama and Abaco to implement these clean water solutions. He explained what his reverse osmosis unit will do to the water supply at the locations.
So reverse osmosis is the process of filtering out different contaminants and also desalinating water so that it's producing something that's drinkable and potable at the end as a product that's safe for consumption.
A joint effort to improve healthcare in the country. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Happy Foods, Happy Foods, 242, 242, Happy Foods, 242, food galore just for you. Happy Food, 242, food galore just for you. This ain't no talking show, it's an eating show. Sasha Laurel is the host of Happy Foods, 242, food galore just for you. Happy Foods, 242, food galore.
Doctors Hospital and Cleveland Clinic have formed a strategic advisory council with the goal of expanding and improving the delivery of healthcare services here in the Bahamas. President of Doctors Hospital Health System, Dr. Charles Digges, called it a momentous occasion for the hospital where physicians and nurses will be given the opportunity to network and grow, all for the benefit of the patients.
It's certainly a remarkable accomplishment. We're here at the end of almost 6 to 8 months of developments, going through the requisite diligence with the Cleveland Clinic to confirm that we, Doctors Hospital Health System, we are a suitable partner. Our values align, our purposes and goals align, and most importantly, what we intend for our healthcare patient experience to be ends up being the same.
The organizations agreed to form the Advisory Council in a 2-year strategic advisory agreement which will provide Doctors Hospital with access to Cleveland Clinic's network of internal experts for strategic planning, clinical education, and leadership development. Dr. Curtis Rimmerman, chairman of international operations at Cleveland Clinic, touched on working out the financial aspect of patient care.
There's a concept called value-based care, and what we don't want to do is cut cost and also cut quality. The first and foremost is to maintain quality and not compromise patient care whatsoever, but to do so more efficiently in a smarter way, using the minimal amount of resources needed to maintain that quality while also maintaining and hopefully improving the patient experience. So it's a complex equation to get all that done. And that's a journey, it's not a destination.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. To catch our news on the go, download the Rev Go Play app. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Jared Higgs. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.